Hello and welcome back. In this video we're going to set up and get everything going so that we can run PHP. So I told you that PHP is a server-side language. So what it's meant to do is you write PHP files and you put those on your server, and then when someone visits your website, the PHP will run the script that you wrote, or the file that you wrote, okay? A file, script, same thing. So it'll run the script that you write. And what happens is it goes ahead and interprets everything that you meant to write, turns it into machine code, and then spits out back to the client whatever you tell it to, okay? So what we could do is we could go rent server space, get a shared hosting place, you know, kind of like on GoDaddy or something like that, or Namecheap or DigitalOcean or something, and we can get server space that has PHP installed, and we could write files and send them there, and then visit those servers and then see if the code works. But the thing is that's not a very efficient or fun way to write code, because when you write code, you're going to be doing a lot of trial and error. You're going to type something and you're going to check it to see if it works. You're going to do that over and over, especially while you're learning. And that would be a real painful process to upload that file and then update it and re-upload it to the server. So some really nice people had given us some software that we can actually set up what we can call a virtual server on our computers, okay? And what we do is we install everything that the server is going to have on our local computers, and we can actually visit we could just have the files right here on our local computers, and we can visit those virtual servers through our browsers, and we can develop in a much more sane way and a much more efficient way. And then it also saves us money because this is going to be completely free, and we don't have to rent server space to learn how to do PHP. Okay, so later when we want to host this live, you will need servers if you want to put a website live, obviously, but while we're learning and while we're developing a website before it's ready, we want to do it on our local machines. And there's a bunch of different ways we can do that. There's some new software out that we can do that with. But what we're gonna go real old school here, and I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do because I think this is the easiest way to get going for all this. So I'm gonna switch over to my screen here, and in your browser, just go ahead and go to apachefriends.org. Okay, so www.apachefriends.org. And on the home page here, you're going to see some software that I call it XAMPP, but I think it's actually pronounced XAMPP. But I'll probably never be able to pronounce this as XAMPP. So I'm always going to call this XAMPP. I know that's wrong. If I hear the developers talk about it, I think they call it XAMPP. But I'm stuck in my old ways, and that's the way I've pronounced it my entire life. So, you know, I'm too old to change now. I'm 40 years old at the time of this recording, so I'm an old man. So you can't teach old dog new tricks, I guess. Just joking. But here's the deal. Even if you have this installed on your computer, I want you to make sure you get kind of a newer version. At least make sure you have PHP version 7 running. Right now, as the time of this recording, they have PHP 8.0.6 is the current version. So as long as you're at this level or above, anything that I do in these videos should work for you. PHP is really good about not breaking stuff, but you know, sometimes they do deprecate things and stuff. So just get some kind of similar versions to what you see in this video. So you can install this on Windows, Linux, or Mac, and it's free. And so you just need to click on whichever one of these you need, and it will actually take you to a download. I do recommend, if you're following along with me, I'm going to be doing this on Linux. Most of it will work exactly the same for Mac. You may need to look up some stuff if you're doing this on Windows, and this would be a great resource for you to learn how to set this up. But basically, I'm not going to walk through the process of installing this, so just download it and it'll give you an installer, install it onto your machine, and you're good to go. The next thing that we need to do, though, there is some permission issues that you'll run into, and I want to explain something. Basically, all the files, so hang on, let me back up a second. Once you've installed this, so go ahead and pause the video, go install this on your computer, and then come back. Okay, welcome back. What we're going to do is start the server up. So once you install this, you're likely, if you're on Windows or Mac, you might get a user interface. But we're going to use the terminal here to start this. And what we're going to do is type sudo, which is going to give us super user privileges here. And we're going to say sudo and then / on Linux, this is an opt / lamp / XAMPP. And then we're going to do a space, and we're going to tell it to start the server. Now, if you're on Mac, it will be the same command, except for, I believe it's applications, and then it'll be XAMPP / XAMPP, and then start, okay? You might have to double check me on that. Again, it should be in the documentation on apachefriends.org. But again, on Linux, it is installed in the opt lamp directory, and then you'll type in XAMPP and then a space and start and hit enter, and it's going to ask you for your password. So go ahead and put in your computer's password, and now you see that it starts 3 pieces of software here. It starts Apache. Apache is our server language that's going to run our PHP scripts for us and give us back our files. MySQL we're going to learn about a little bit later, but this is basically a database software that we can have a database running on our local machine. We call this our local or virtual server. This is our virtual server or local machine. I'll probably call it your dev box or local machine most often. And then this ProFTPD is some software. We're not really going to worry about that right now. So we're just interested in the Apache server and MySQL. So if you started that, let me show you how you can visit that in your browser. So then go ahead and open up your browser, and we'll just open a new tab here and just type in localhost and hit enter. You should be taken here to your dashboard, and if you see something like this, you are up and ready to go. The next thing you could do is you can actually click on PHP Info, and then you should see what version of PHP you're running, and you should see any sort of mods or things like that were installed through XAMPP or XAMPP will all be in here. So if you can see any of this, if you go back here to just localhost, you should see this. If you see this, then you are up and running. The next thing though I want to show you is where files go on the server. So if I just go ahead and cd to opt lamp, which is where it installs XAMPP, and I'll just do an ls here, and we can see many different directories, and I just want to show you one. And this is the same whether you're on Windows or Mac or Linux. It's just how you get here might be a little different. But you're looking for this htdocs directory. And actually, if we look at, we do a ls-la, and we look at the htdocs directory here, you can see, in your case, it'll probably be set to root and root for the owner, and who has what group this is in, and who the owner is, and who has permission to edit this directory. And we actually need to change this so that we don't have any issues with permissions later. So what we want to do here, if you're on Linux or Mac, this is going to be a different process on Windows, so you'll have to look it up. But what you can do is type who am I, and so then it gives you an answer back, and my name here is Curtis. Okay, so write that down. Of course, now I've named my computer that, so I know that I'm Curtis. The other thing that we're going to need here is what group you're in. And so what you could do here is you could type ID space -GN, and that's for group name. So this gives you the ID of your group name. And in my case, it's also Curtis. So I belong to a group named Curtis. Yours may be different, or will be different, and I am Curtis. Okay, so that is my username. So Curtis is my username, and this is my group. So what we want to do is we want to run a command that will give this htdocs directory the group and the username of your whatever you have here. So your who am I, Curtis, you'll need to take note of that. And what group you're in, you'll need to take note of that. So let's go ahead and show you what to do. So you're going to type sudo space and then type CHOWN for change owner. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say capital R, which is going to recursively go through all the directories within the directory we're about to define. And then we need to tell it the username. So in my case, my username from typing who am I is Curtis. And then I'm going to do a colon, and then I'm going to tell it my group name. And in my case, from typing ID-GN to find my group name, that is also Curtis. Once I've done that, I need to tell it what directory we're changing. So I'm just going to go ahead and type in the path, which is /opt/lamp/htdocs. Okay? Once I hit enter, it's not really going to, it should, if you don't have any errors, it should just go back to this. And then if you do an ls-la again, and look at your htdocs, you should have your group and your username here instead of root. If you have that, then you are ready to go, and you're not going to have really any issues with permissions on your computer going forward. If we didn't do this, we couldn't even create a file in here, and so that is going to be a bad user experience. So we just needed to do a little bit of setup, and if you've done this, then what you can do now is you can actually cd into your htdocs directory. Now, if you ls there, I have a lot of stuff here that I've been working on, but you're going to have a few things like probably this bitnami.css and this dashboard. You're going to have some of that. You're not going to have any of this other stuff that I have here, which is fine. We're going to create some directories here to get going, but we're going to do that in the next video. So if you've gotten this far in this video, then great job. You may have to rewatch it and try it a few different times. If you're on Windows, check out these FAQs and how-to guides. There's installation instructions here on right here. If you go to apachefriends.org, you can go to the community, you can find all kinds of information, but get your computer, and hopefully you're following along with me using some sort of Linux distribution, like Linux Mint. That's what I'm using. It's free, but if you're doing that, the commands that I showed you today should work on Mac and Linux. The only difference is the directory, the path of where the htdocs lives in Linux and Mac is different, so you'll need to check that out. But there's all sorts of installation information here that you can find to help you out with that. So get that installed, and then meet me back here in the next video, and we're going to write some PHP code. Alright, I will see you guys in the next video.